Hey everybody, Papa Wigs here with Wigs. Today we're going to give you our week one sleepers for just the Thursday and Friday games here coming up. We're going to have another video with sleepers for the weekend games, but we just wanted to start off with Thursday, Friday. You've got Baltimore playing against Kansas City on Thursday, which I believe is in KC. And then you got the Brazil game where Green Bay is going against the Eagles. So with that said, I'm gonna I'll jump in with my sleeper picks here for each of the games. So for Thursday's game, the two sleepers that I think could have a decent game is for Baltimore, Justice Hill, and for Kansas City, what was his name? Samaje Piran. And so here's my reasoning behind those two. First of all, neither one of these defenses did extremely well against the run last year. I just read that Hill is going to be a big part of this offense, even with Henry in there. I think that Henry's not going to be active in the passing game. I can see Hill being active in the passing game. Henry, yeah, he may take away some reps in the red zone, but I do think Hill has a chance here to have a really decent game. For the Ravens, even with Henry there, especially active in the passing game. So, it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up with a total of maybe, I could see him ending up with a total of maybe 10, 12 points between, his rushing, his passing. That could be a little bit more if he gets a touchdown. I think he's definitely a sleeper and someone that if you're not sure about your lineup and you're looking to plug somebody in, that definitely is a sleeper for me. Perini for Kansas City, their backup running back. I'm having a brain fart. It actually went on pub for the first four games.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that puts the arrow up on Perini. He's going to be the backup to Pacheco. Listen, he's extremely well in the does extremely well in the passing game. I think that the wide receivers for Kansas City are going to struggle in this game. Rice struggled against Baltimore last year in the conference finals. I don't think Worthy is going to do well either. I think that the two guys in the passing game that I can see having a really good game, obviously, Kelsey and then Perini. I think he's going to be in there. Whenever they're on third down, I think he could be active closer down to the red zone, depending on if they, what they do with Pacheco and stuff. So again, he's another one just like Hill. I think he could have between rushing and receptions and stuff. I think he could have 10 to 12 points, gets a touchdown that boosts him up. So that's my take on Thursday. On Friday, we got the Packers and the Eagles in Brazil. And so my two sleepers for that game is for the Packers, I got Dontrevion Wicks, and then for the Eagles, Jahan Dotson. Wicks, Wiggs has got Wicks as well. He's also got Dobbs, which I can see both of those on his side. There's some question marks around Dobbs, so and Wiggs will talk about that, but so you got to keep an eye on that on whether where he's at prior to the game. But for me, I think the Eagles' passing game or passing defense is going to be horrendous. I think that Jordan Love is going to have a field day. I think three, possibly four of these receivers are gonna be active. Here's my take. The reason I got Wicks on here is I really think Dobbs might be limited. He might not be 100% if he is in there. And I just think Wicks um, has the potential to have a breakout game. Plus, he's a deep threat. Really deep threat. One shot down the field, and he's got a 60-yard touchdown. So to me, I think here's another guy again. Uh, he could go, for 12, 13 points. If he gets a touchdown, you got an 18, possibly 20-point game. So to me, he's a huge sleeper in this one. The Eagles lost their best pass rusher to last year, or that they had last year. I don't know that their defense is going to be as effective. Jordan Love can move around, which is going to give the receivers an opportunity to kind of get open as well. So, and I'm not really convinced that the Eagles cornerbacks are solid. So that's my take on that. On the flip side, I got Jahan Dotson. He was just traded to the Eagles a week ago or so from Washington. I just read some stuff about it. He's really impressed the Eagles with how fast he's picked up their offense. The offensive coordinator feels like he's going to have a big role in the offense in this game. I think Jared Alexander for Green Bay is obviously going to either be shadowing Brown or Smith, one or the other. Listen, I'm not a huge Alexander fan. I'm a Vikings fan, as you all know. I think Alexander's overrated. He's come out and he said a lot of stuff about, I locked down Jefferson or this and that. If you actually watch the tape, he's full of it. He's not as great as everybody thinks he is. But with that said, I'll give him his props. He still is one of the top cornerbacks in the league. So I think that's going to open up some opportunities for Dotson, in that offense. With him potentially, having a good game. I don't see Dotson scoring a touchdown. I do see him maybe 4 or 5 um, receptions, possibly 60 yards, so but that's still 10, 11 points, right?
I mean, I could totally see him getting a touchdown. Yeah. With Brown and Smith drawing a lot of the attention. Dotson does a lot of deep work, so it could just be one shot from Hurts, and that could be like the bulk of his point. I could totally see him having a touchdown.
Yeah, he could. So I just think that he's definitely a guy that is not on people's radar because of the trade. I can guarantee you after this game, he is going to be a hot commodity. I bet you. I bet you anything, Wiggs. That's my take. After this first game, I think Dotson might just show people that they should definitely take a look at him. So we'll wait and see. So with that, I'll let Wiggs talk about his sleepers.
Yeah, so heading into the Thursday night game, I went with Rashad Bateman as one of my sleepers. I think he actually could have a really solid first game here, catching the ball 4 or 5 times. I actually think he might even get a touchdown in this game. The reason behind that is I think Flowers and Andrews are going to be drawing a lot of attention. On top of that, you still have Derrick Henry, so if they get in the red zone, I could see them having some sort of play made to make it look like it's going to one of their key guys, and instead it's a play for Bateman. And I could totally see something happening where he ends up with like 14 or 15 points behind a touchdown. Like I said, 3 or 4 receptions.
Yeah, I don't.
Like 30 or 40 yards maybe.
I actually like that pick of yours, Wiggs. Because I will say last year in the conference championship, Flowers had a game against Kansas City, so I think they're going to be drawing attention. He's going to be drawing attention, so I totally.
Well,
and
then with
this.
Mark Andrews back too,
So,
like.
I think Andrews and Kelsey both are still going to have a game, but I totally agree your philosophy here. I think Flowers is going to attract more attention because Casey's going to remember the conference championship when he kind of tore him apart there. So I could totally see Bateman being the sleeper here.
And then moving on, I do agree with you with P. Ryan. I was kind of back and forth between him and Worthy. I think Worthy could actually have a decent game. When I say decent, like maybe 12 or 13 points. Um, but I think P. Ryan's kind of overlooked just because Pacheco's going to be in a somewhat workhorse type role there in that Chiefs offense. But P. Ryan's one of those running backs where if you get him the ball and he gets into open space, he's kind of unpredictable. He could go for 60 yards or do something crazy. I don't know.
He's going to be the Jerick McKinnon in the
Yeah,
Kansas City
basically.
Chiefs offense this year.
And yeah, and he knows how to find the end zone as well. So a change of pace there in the red zone, and he could easily have a touchdown. So I could totally see him having like about 10 or 11 points, maybe 12 or 13. I don't know if I'd start him, but could be a possible flex option depending on how deep your leagues are. And then moving forward to the Friday night game, I have three different players here. I went with two from the Packers, Dontavian Wicks, who I actually have a feeling is going to be the wide receiver two after a few weeks here into the season. I think him and Love are going to have a ridiculous connection this year, and I could totally see him overtaking Dobbs and Watson. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't know. It's just a gut feeling, and I totally see him and about two other receivers having a touchdown in this game. So if you have Wicks, I would recommend at least starting him at the flex. I think he's going to have at least a touchdown behind 3 or 4 receptions, probably for 40 or 50 yards. Um, which right there.
I think it all depends on. I agree with you on Wicks. I think Wicks is where his sleeper value comes in is the long ball. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
I think that the other thing is that it's really hard to judge these Packer receivers because I think Reed's going to be really good this year. I think Watson still needs to prove himself because he needs to stay on the field. That's the other thing. A couple of these guys they've had nagging injuries, so it'll be interesting.
But, yeah, and I think Jordan Love does a great job of spreading the ball around as well. So that's why I could totally see Wicks being a sleeper because I think he'll be one of 3 or 4 players on the team to catch a receiving touchdown from Love because, like you said, I think Jordan Love's going to tear up this Eagles defense, and I could see him throwing for 4 touchdowns in this game. And I think Wicks will be on the receiving end of at least one of those. Moving on forward, Romeo Dobbs, depending on if he plays or not. If he doesn't play, I actually want to say I would totally consider Melton as a sleeper this week as well because I could see him catching a touchdown there from Jordan Love and having another 3 or 4 receptions, maybe 5. But between Dobbs and Melton, depending on who plays, or if Dobbs plays at all, I could totally see 3 to 5 catches there, a touchdown behind one of those guys. I think Jaden Reed will have a touchdown. Honestly, I don't expect much from Watson this game, so I kind of put it off on the other receivers there for the Packers.
And then, I know Watson has the potential. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, he just can never stay on the field.
And Dobbs still has, they're still not ruling him out. He just came up with something. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're looking at the active inactives before that game on Friday.
Yeah, and make sure you're checking day to day because injuries come up randomly, sickness comes up randomly. Like just keep checking back and forth on your app, whatever one it's on, Sleeper, ESPN, etc. Just stay up to date on it. And then moving forward, I actually went with Kenneth Gainwell. I think Barkley is overrated, and I think everyone's expecting him to be, a workhorse type running back. And I think everyone's wrong on that spectrum of things. I think Gainwell's still going to be used in the passing game quite a bit. And Gainwell's shown what he can do in that receiving game. I think he can receive the ball a good 4 to 5 times maybe in this game. Going for about 40 to 50 yards. I can see him breaking one off for a long run or even a touchdown at some point in this game as well. He's kind of on the lower end of my sleepers. I'd probably give him around that 8 to 10 range in points, but I could totally see him being up around 13 to 14 depending on if he got a touchdown or not in this game.
Yeah, I was thinking about Gainwell as well. I won't go as far as saying that Barkley's overrated. I think Barkley's biggest downfall has just been, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's not a running back for me. He's not the kind of running back that I draft. So the Packers definitely are going to struggle against the run. So Barkley, I think still could have a good game. But I do agree with you that, with that said, I think Gainwell is more comfortable in the Eagles' offense. don't get me wrong, Barkley's had the whole off season and stuff like that, but they still used Gainwell quite a bit last year, even when they had Swift. So I don't think that's going away. So Wiggs, I agree with you. I think that he's definitely going to be active here, and he is definitely a sleeper against this Packer one. And he was one that I was considering, as well, as part of my sleeper. So I think you made a good choice there.
Well, and I think if the Eagles are smart, they utilize Gainwell in the passing game just due to Barkley's injury history. Because the more he's on the field, the more vulnerable he is.
I don't think they're going to get away from him. I'd be surprised if they get away from him, because that's how you extend these running backs.
Yeah.
Careers is by mixing in these other guys and stuff. And I think Gainwell's proven that he can be effective in certain situations, and I definitely think he will be. So, anything else you want to add, Wiggs?
No, I think we hit it on the dot.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, remember, check us out, Fantasy Fools, PPR, YouTube. We're also out on Snapchat, X, TikTok, Instagram. Like, subscribe, share. We hope you're getting a lot out of this content. We appreciate you guys checking us out. And until next time, we'll talk soon.